come out.
Oh, I forgot my glasses. Thank you. Good afternoon. This is cause number 2021-26073 in the interest of Aaron Averon and Adrian Bass. All parties and witnesses, please unmute yourselves and raise your right hand. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right, ma'am. Please state your name and your relationship to the children.
Nita Newsom, the children's mother.
All right. And for the state?
Kara Mitchell.
Court will note that the non-custodial parent father is Avery Frank Bass. He's not present. He was personally served on May 12th, 2021 at 7:15 p.m. at 9988 Windmill Lakes Boulevard, apartment 2705 in Houston, Harris County, Texas. And he has not filed an answer or made an appearance. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
He was given attempted further notice, certified mail, return receipt requested, unclaimed. We'll proceed by default.
Okay, Your Honor. I'd first like to call Miss Newsom as a witness. Miss Newsom, could you please state your name, please?
Nita Newsom,
How old are your children?
12, 13, 17.
Okay, and who is their father?
Avery Frank Bass.
Are you currently married?
No, ma'am.
Okay, and were you married when any of your children were conceived?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now, with regard to Aaron, did anyone sign his birth certificate?
No, ma'am.
And they did not sign an acknowledgement of paternity. Is that correct?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Who is Aaron Bass's father?
Avery Frank Bass.
Is there any possibility that anyone else could be his father?
No, ma'am.
Okay, and are you asking the court to establish a parent-child relationship between Aaron Bass and Mr. Avery Bass?
Yes.
Okay, now with regard to Adrian Bass and Avion Bass, Mr. Avery Bass did sign their birth certificate. Is that correct?
Yes. He wasn't able to sign Avon's because he was incarcerated when he was born.
Okay. And he signed an acknowledgement of paternity for those two boys, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Um, are you and Mr. Bass able to make decisions for the children?
Yes,
Joint,
ma'am.
okay. You guys get along pretty well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You asking the court to grant a joint managing conservatorship where you are the person designated to decide where the children live, their primary residence?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. With regard to visitation, would you have any objection to Mr. Bass getting a standard possession order where he would get the children over the weekends?
Will I have a rejection of it? No, ma'am.
Okay, so it's okay for him to have a standard possession order.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Is it okay for Mr. Bass to have a standard possession order for visitation purposes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, before I move on from visitation, let's just, I'm going to ask you about a non-disclosure. Is there any reason why you would not want your address listed in this order?
Yes, ma'am.
What safety concern do you have? Why don't you want your address in this order?
One of my sons that's incarcerated at this moment was shot at a past resident of mine.
I'm sorry, what was that? One of your
My
sons is
son,
incarcerated and,
yeah, but he was hurt at one of my old address. He was shot.
oh, so you don't want him to know what your address is that correct?
No, that's not correct. I wouldn't want my address to be listed to where anybody could find it.
What, okay, because of your son, because of the problem that you've had with your son, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
So in
Yes,
other
sir.
words, if your son knew where you lived, he would maybe cause you or your other children some type of harassment or
No,
abuse,
no,
serious
no,
harm,
sir.
injury.
No,
Well, then
no, Your Honor, that's not what I'm saying.
what are you
I'm
saying?
saying like I wouldn't want my address to be listed publicly because somebody came to my home and fired shots and my kid was hurt. My son was shot 3 times.
Oh, okay, so
Not my son, he wouldn't do no harm.
you don't
Somebody
know.
came to my
Okay.
house and shot my kid. Yes,
All right. Okay. Go ahead.
thank you.
Okay. And so for visitation purposes, Mr. Bass, Mr. Bass, does he know where you live?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you don't have an issue with him having your address, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, but for purposes of visitation, we have, you're requesting that pickup and drop off for the children be at a McDonald's off of Old Spanish Street.
Yes. Yes, correct.
Okay. Now, with regard to child support, do you know if Mr. Bass is working?
No.
Do you know if Mr. Bass has any other minor children who either live with him or who he pays child support for?
No.
Okay. How are your children covered for health insurance?
Medicaid.
Okay. And so, because we don't know if Mr. Bass is working, we were able to calculate child support using minimum wage. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And based on that, Mr. Bass should be ordered to pay $315 a month starting September the 1st and every month thereafter. Is that correct?
Correct.
He also should be ordered to pay a cash medical $88 a month starting September the 1st, 2021, and every month thereafter for medical support. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, now, Has Mr. Bass given you any money to help support the children over the past 4 years?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And so are you requesting retroactive child support or back child support?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we were able to determine that Mr. Bass should be ordered to pay a retro child support judgment in the amount of $16,695. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're asking for that to be paid back at $133.48 starting September the 1st and every month thereafter. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you believe Mr. Bass should be ordered to pay court costs as billed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you believe this order is in the best interest of your children?
Correct.
And you're asking the judge to grant this order?
Correct.
Okay. Your Honor, pass the witness.